Kyree Walker was ranked the #1 player in high school basketball. But what really happened to this guy? And today, I'm just here to explain to y'all his story. Kyree Walker is an absolute stud at basketball. He has always been ranked as one of the top players in the country. Ever since he came onto the scene in middle school, he has always been ranked the #1 player all the way up until about 11th grade. After about his 11th grade year and going into his senior year, this is when things take a dramatic turn. However, before we get into that, you guys already know we gotta throw it all the way back to where things started. In the year of 2016 and 2017, Kyree Walker was named the Max Preps National Freshman of the Year. And this was for good reason, because he averaged a whopping 21.5 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, and also nearly 4 assists. For a freshman, that's outstanding. When he was a freshman, this isn't when he first started making national headlines. Ever since he was in 6th grade, he was labeled as the next big thing. As just a 6th grader, Kyree Walker was listed at 6 foot. When he was just in 6th grade, this is when he started to make his national headlines debut. And after 6th grade, this is when things really started to take off and he started to get a lot of attention. In 7th and 8th grade, he grew to a whopping 6'5". Think about that, just as a middle schooler. Every camp he went to and almost every recruiting site either had this guy as the #1 player or #2 player. He was dominating his competition so much, people were calling him a man-child at the middle school level. Not only that, they were saying he could have been playing at the varsity level at that moment. It kinda sounds crazy, but if you saw how this kid looked in middle school, it wouldn't sound crazy. He looked like a junior or senior. As just a middle schooler, he was listed at 6'6" and 205 pounds. And the thing that was really scary and really impressive about him was he had a huge vertical leap. I'm not saying he was Zion Williamson, but if I had to compare him to anybody, he played exactly like Zion Williamson in high school. It wasn't like he got a little hype here and there. He maintained the hype and the #1 player ranking for years. There's really not too much to say about his freshman season. Like I told y'all, he got freshman player of the year. After his freshman season though, he did transfer to Hillcrest Prep. So heading into his sophomore season, I think it's fair to say, he had big and heavy expectations. And let's just say, he did not disappoint. For his sophomore season, he averaged 25 points per game. Not only that, he averaged 8.3 assists and 8.7 rebounds, so he nearly averaged a triple-double. Kyree Walker is a player that I like to call a stat stuffer. He also averaged almost 3 steals per game and almost 3 blocks per game. And at this point in time, he was still ranked the #1 player in the country. With those numbers being said, heading into his junior season, he was expected to put up big and even better numbers. And once again, he answered those expectations. He jumped his points per game all the way up to 30.2. He also averaged 6 assists per game, which dropped a little, but still good, and 11 rebounds per game. And one side of his game that no one really talked about was his defensive side, and he averaged 3.4 steals per game and also 2 blocks once again. We gotta give credit where credit is due. Ever since a 6th grader, Kyree Walker was regarded as one of the top players in the country, and all the way up to his senior season, he stayed and retained that ranking. However, this is when our story takes a drastic and real dramatic turn. After his last game as a junior, he actually said he would probably reclassify to 2019. He also said this statement in an interview. "Most likely I'm posting my last game here at Hillcrest as a player." Also saying, "I don't know what's going to happen after AAU season's over with. I haven't decided yet, but probably this is my last game." Kyree Walker wasn't just worrying about things on the court. He was actually having to deal with things off the court as well that really impacted his decision. His mother was unfortunately diagnosed with cancer, and Kyree Walker said this: "Just the fact that I was trying to hoop and still be successful messed up the way I played in a huge way." And as bad as that sounds, that wasn't the only thing that Walker was dealing with. Kyree's grandfather actually died 3 months prior, and that was the second grandparent Kyree has lost in the last couple of years. And Kyree said this in an interview: "I didn't play so good, and I take that on me. My grandmother and my grandfather had passed away in the last 2 years, so I've gone through that. So having my mom have breast cancer, it messed me up in a huge way mentally. It showed. His head coach said even in practice he could see that this affected him dramatically. And with being one of the top players in the country, there's always pressure, and his head coach said this: "There's pressure on him to be Kyree every time out. When he's not Kyree, people are looking like, oh, what happened? He didn't perform last night." With Kyree Walker having to worry about things off the court, this really took a toll on him. But he goes on to say this: "She told me everything was going to be fine. She told me just to go out there and hoop. Do what you can do. I'm going to be fine here, waiting for you, supporting you." Hearing that, I try my best to go out there every time and just hoop, just go out there and kill. When all of this was going on and happening, Kyree's ranking actually dropped to number 13. And then when everything actually settled down, his ranking even went down to 26. And this really motivated him to get back to that number 1 spot, and he even went on to say this in an article: "I'm carrying myself a different way now. I print out the paper." He's talking about the players that are listed above him. He's printing out that paper. "Whoever is in front of me, I'm Xing out your name. Whoever in front of me, I'm coming. I'm not being cocky or anything. I'm just making sure. Like, disrespect me, I'm gonna show you why you don't disrespect me." And at that point in time, Kyree Walker actually decommitted from Arizona State in late October when everything was going on. At this point in time, Kyree was really trying to prove that he was the best player, and he was trying to get his spot back. And he was going to get his spot back, whether that's in the class of 2019 or 2020. And he was really looking forward to AAU this summer so he could hopefully regain that top spot. Unfortunately for him though, AAU basically has gotten postponed / cancelled, so it's not ideal for him. With Kyree Walker reclassifying, he had a decision to make, and that decision was to either play college basketball or do something else. And since everything has happened, Kyree Walker went from a 5-star recruit to only a 3-star recruit in a matter of months. That is a crazy and very fast fall off. However, Kyree Walker still had more than 18 Division I offers. So basically, he could really go to almost wherever he wanted. But just recently, on April 20th, he made a very shocking decision. He decided to skip college basketball and join an NBA training program. For those of you that don't know, it's basically just a 1-year-long training program that hopefully gets you ready for the next level, whether that's the NBA or overseas. And about that choice, Kyree went on to say this: "It's different from what other people are thinking. You create your own wave and how you want to do things. It's not the ideal thing, but you should do what you want to do, not what other people think is better for you." And just by going off of that quote, that is very, and I mean very wise and mature words from a young guy. I can't call him a kid anymore because this guy, he's a man-child like we said. The program he's training for actually makes sense though. He actually started working out with this program that was associated with his AAU basketball team. So this might have had an influence on his decision, but hey, we don't know. He actually said he thought hard about this decision for 2 weeks straight, and ultimately he decided this was the best move for him. There has actually been a lot of critics about Walker's decision to bypass college, and he said this: "I didn't do it to make nobody happy. I'm not doing it for them. I did it for me and what's best for me." Just by going off of his quotes, I really feel like Kyree's in a very good state of mind. One of the hardest things to do in life is to fall off, then regain that top spot. But if he works hard, I think he'll have an opportunity to get back up there. Kyree Walker went from a 5-star recruit and the top player in the country for 4 to 5 years to a 3-star recruit in a matter of months and a guy who no one talks about anymore. But if I was you, I wouldn't completely give up on this kid just yet because he's determined. But hey man, with all this being said, that's about gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. If you are new to the channel, what are you doing? Join the family and hit that subscribe button and leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.